Short. Strong. Espresso English.
Fuel your day. Let's learn.
Have you ever been at a picnic or office lunch and someone suggests using those single-use plastic cups or utensils? You know it's not great for the planet, but everyone just goes along with it. And you stay quiet?
Yeah, and later you feel awkward, right? Like you wish you'd spoken up but didn't want to ruin the mood or seem picky.
Exactly. This episode's for anyone who's been stuck in that moment wanting to do the right thing but afraid to say no early.
We're diving into a very real everyday dilemma. Would you rather say no early or apologize later after making a passive eco choice?
That struggle between active eco choices, speaking up and setting a better example, and passive eco choices, just going with the flow.
This episode is perfect for B1 and B2 learners who want more confidence in tricky social moments. Beginners, you are welcome too.
Quick question. How often do you go along with something just because everyone else does? Even if you're unsure, is it always easier to agree, or do you prefer to speak up?
Yeah, I'm guilty of going along with the crowd sometimes, just to avoid awkward moments.
But here's the thing. The real difference isn't about being perfect. It's about whether you're willing to say just one simple sentence early on to avoid bigger problems later.
Like having a ready phrase at hand. Maybe something like, I'm good with my own cup. Or, let's skip over the plastic this time.
And by doing that, you change your habits without making it a big deal, right? For example, bringing your own cup or utensils so you don't have to explain your choice every time.
So even little changes can make a big impact. And there's a fascinating idea in psychology called the social norm effect. It explains why we often just follow what everyone else does without realizing.
We'll explain that more as we go along and share some zero-pressure steps you can try when you want to be more active in your ego choices.
I bet you're listening right now, maybe with a coffee in hand or taking a quick break. And maybe you're thinking about the last time you wanted to say no early but instead said nothing.
Stay until the end for our word tour. We've got 5 expressions from today's episode to help you sound natural and confident.
And later, we'll give you one tiny trick to turn those big eco ideas into easy daily habits.
Picture this. You arrive at a picnic and someone hands you a stack of single-use cups like it's totally normal.
And everyone just nods. No one wants to be the person who says, actually, I brought my own cup.
Right? Because the moment you speak up, you worry you'll feel awkward and kill the vibe.
So you go along with it. You take the cup, the plastic fork, the paper plate that's really not paper at all, and you tell yourself it's fine this one time.
And that just this once feeling is exactly how a lot of passive eco choices start, not from laziness, from pressure.
And honestly, that pressure is sneaky. It's not someone forcing you. It's the tiny social norm effect at work. The quiet idea that if everyone else is doing it, maybe you should too.
So the problem isn't only the cup. It's the social script around the cup. Nobody says, please ignore your values now, but the room kind of does.
I've done this at office lunches. Someone says, let's just grab the disposable stuff. I nod, then spend the whole meal thinking, great James, environmental champion of nothing.
That is painfully familiar and also very human.
The awkward part is that you're not trying to make a speech. You just want to say one calm sentence and keep the moment easy. Something like, I'm good with my own cup.
Or, let's skip over the extra plastic. Short, polite, no drama.
And if you say it early, before everyone has committed to the disposable pile, it feels easier. Once the cups are open and the forks are distributed, the moment gets heavier.
Exactly. Timing changes everything. When you wait too long, speaking up starts to feel like you're asking the group to reverse course.
Which is why so many people don't do it. They don't disagree with the idea in their head. They just don't want the visual moment. The pause. The eyes. The little "oh" from the table.
Yes, and that's where the feeling awkward part gets so strong. Your brain starts predicting discomfort before anything even happens.
Let's try a quick mini role play. I'll be the friend. Come on, it's only a single-use cup. Don't be dramatic.
Stop there. That line sounds natural in a movie, but not in a real conversation. It's too blunt, and it makes the other person feel judged.
Okay, fair. So, how would you say it?
You'd sound more natural with something like, I'm okay with my own cup, or can we skip over the plastic this time? Both are calm, simple, and easy to hear.
I'm okay with my own cup. That feels much better. Less tense, less weird.
Exactly. You're not giving a lecture. You're just stating a preference in a way that protects the mood.
And if you forget to speak up in the moment, the result is usually the same. You leave with a tiny regret. Not a disaster, just that little stomach drop feeling.
Because you know you had a chance. You could have chosen differently, but you went along with the easy option.
So maybe the question isn't, am I the most eco person here? Maybe it's, can I make one small choice now?
That's the shift. Active eco choices sound big, but they can start with one cup, one fork, one sentence.
And one less pile of plastic pretending to be convenience.
There's also a bigger habit hidden here. If you always let the group decide for you, your own voice gets quieter over time.
So speaking up early isn't only about trash, it's about confidence too.
Exactly. And that's why this dilemma matters so much. It looks tiny on the outside, but it reveals how people handle pressure, manners, and self-trust.
And by the way, there's a phrase for this whole pattern. It's called social norm effect, and it explains why the room can shape your choice before you even notice.
We'll unpack that more soon. And in Act 3, we'll test whether saying no early is really as hard as it feels.
So here's my take. Saying no early sounds noble, but in real life, it can make you feel awkward for no reason.
I disagree. And I think that's missing the point. The awkward moment is usually tiny, while the regret later can last much longer.
But what if the group already decided? If everyone's grabbing single-use stuff, one person speaking up can feel performative, not helpful.
I don't buy that. If the group norm is wasteful, one calm voice can change the tone. You're not performing. You're offering an option.
Still, in the moment, people don't want a mini lecture. They want lunch. They want the picnic to keep moving. If you speak up too fast, you might seem difficult.
Maybe, but that fear is exactly why passive eco choices keep winning. We tell ourselves the social cost is too high, so we go along with it and call that being polite.
I've definitely done that. Someone hands me a single-use fork, I smile, I nod, and then I feel like I just surrendered to the room.
And then you leave with that little, why didn't I say anything feeling. That's not nothing. That's a sign your values were there the whole time.
But let me push back. What if the event is messy, fast, and practical? At a crowded office lunch, asking people to rethink the cups can slow everything down.
That's a fair point, but it's not the whole picture. You don't need to redesign the whole lunch. You can speak up early with one line and move on.
So you're saying timing matters more than volume?
Exactly. If you say, I'm good with my own cup, before the stack is opened, nobody has to stop and untangle the situation.
Okay, but what if people roll their eyes? What if they think you're trying to be better than them?
That can happen. Still, a little discomfort isn't the same as conflict. And honestly, most people respect a clear preference when it's said kindly.
I'm still not fully convinced. Sometimes staying quiet keeps the social energy smooth, and smooth energy matters.
Smooth energy can also hide pressure. That's the social norm effect again. When the room feels like agreement, even when no one actually agreed to anything.
So the room is basically doing peer pressure in a polite shirt.
Yes, exactly, and that polite shirt is why people miss their chance to speak up.
But isn't there a middle path? You don't have to become the eco-police. You can just go along with the group once and fix it later.
That sounds easy, but fix it later often means nothing changes. You may tell yourself you'll bring a better cup next time, but next time turns into the same pattern.
So the real cost is repetition.
Right. One silent moment becomes a habit. Then your values become something you think about after the fact instead of something you act on.
Let's test your idea in a real scene. A coworker says, "We've got enough plastic spoons. No need to make this complicated." What do?
I'd say, I'm okay with my own spoon, or let's skip over the extra plastic this time. Short, human, no speech.
I'm okay with my own spoon. That's better than a big explanation. It doesn't sound like I'm scolding anyone.
Exactly. You're not arguing with the room. You're just not disappearing inside it.
But there's still a risk. If you always speak up, won't that make you the person who's hard to invite?
Not if you do it with warmth. People remember tone. They remember whether you made the moment calmer or more tense.
So the goal isn't to win the room. It's to stay honest without turning the lunch into a debate.
Yes, and that's why I push back on apologize later. The apology is often just a receipt for a choice you knew was off in the moment.
Oof, that's a good image.
Sorry, but it's true.
Fair, so maybe saying no early is less about being strict and more about being steady.
That's exactly it. Steady, kind, and clear. Not loud, not preachy, just intentional.
Okay, I can live with that. I still think there are moments when going along with the group is harmless, but I get your point. Silence has a cost.
And I get yours too. Timing, tone, and context matter. The point isn't to fight every cup. It's to notice when a small choice says something bigger.
And that bigger thing is confidence, right?
Confidence, self-trust, and the courage to speak up before the moment passes.
Nice. And next, we'll unpack the exact words behind this pattern so listeners can use them naturally.
So we've seen the pressure, the awkwardness, and the quiet cost of staying silent.
And we've also seen how one short sentence can change the whole moment without turning it into a scene.
Exactly. Now let's pull out the 5 phrases that carry this story.
They're the ones you can actually use the next time someone pushes the plastic pile your way.
Stay with us. The word tour is coming up next. So, after that picnic debate, I keep thinking about the exact phrase that describes what people do when they follow the crowd.
Right, and that one matters because it explains the whole social pressure piece. When you go along with something, you do what other people are doing, even if you're not fully sure.
Exactly. It's not always active agreement. Sometimes it's just social autopilot. You see the cups, the forks, the easy option, and you go along with it.
And the phrase works in all sorts of places. I went along with the plan. She went along with the group. It's a very natural way to say you followed the flow.
The important part is that it can sound neutral, but in our episode it had a cost. You went along with the disposable stuff, and later you felt that little regret.
Which connects nicely to single use. That word is super literal. Made for one time only, then thrown away.
Yes, and it often shows up on cups, cutlery, packaging, all that stuff you grab because it's easy. Single-use cup is the kind of phrase you'll hear in real life all the time.
And honestly, it's a very efficient label for something that creates a very inefficient mess.
That's true. You can even say, I don't want single-use plastic, or we used single-use plates. It's simple, clear, and very common in conversations about everyday waste.
Now the phrase that changes the whole mood is speak up. This one is about saying what you think or need instead of staying silent.
And that can be tiny. You don't need a speech. You can say, I'd rather not, or I'm good with my own cup. That's speaking up.
Right. And the beauty of it is that it doesn't have to sound aggressive. It just means your voice is actually in the room.
That matters because if you never speak up, other people make the choice for you. Then you're not really choosing. You're just reacting.
And that's where feel awkward comes in. This phrase is about that uncomfortable social feeling when you worry you've broken the mood or stood out too much.
Yes, And it's such a useful phrase because it captures the body feeling, the mental hesitancy, the little pause before you talk.
I feel awkward is very honest. I felt awkward when everyone stared. I'd feel awkward saying that. It's exactly the feeling our listeners probably know too well.
And in the episode, that feeling was the invisible wall. It made people hesitate before they spoke up, not because the sentence was hard, because the moment felt loaded.
Last one, skip over. This is the phrase we use when we talked about leaving the plastic out. It means to leave something out or not use it this time.
Right, and it's lovely because it sounds light. Let's skip over the plastic. We skipped over the forks. You're not making a big announcement. You're just bypassing one thing.
It's a neat little phrase for a neat little habit. One less item, one less problem.
And notice how all 5 phrases fit together. You go along with the group, choose single-use items, hesitate to speak up, start to feel awkward, and then try to skip over the extra plastic next time.
That chain is exactly why the story felt so real. These aren't just vocabulary, items. They're the emotional steps people move through in everyday life.
And the coolest part is that you can practice them in tiny sentences. I go along with it. This is single use. I'll speak up. I feel awkward. Let's skip over that.
Short, natural, and easy to remember, which is what makes them useful outside the podcast too.
Keep listening to how native speakers use these chunks in real moments, and they'll start sounding less like textbook words and more like your own voice. So today we looked at that tiny but revealing moment when someone offers the easy plastic option and you decide whether to go along with it or speak up.
And we saw that the real issue isn't just waste, it's the social norm effect, the pressure to match the room, and the little regret that shows up later when you feel awkward.
One simple move is to keep a ready phrase in your pocket. Something short like, I'm good with my own cup, or let's skip over the extra plastic.
Another easy move is to change just one habit. Bring your own cup, your own spoon, or your own container, and make the choice before the moment gets messy.
That matters because the hardest part is often not the action itself. It's the pause before the action, the fear of sounding difficult or out of place.
I've had those moments too. Once I carried a reusable fork in my bag for weeks and I felt ridiculous until the first time I used it at lunch and nobody cared.
That's the secret, right? We build these moments up in our heads, and then real life is usually calmer than we expect it.
So here's the challenge. Next time you're offered a single-use item, try one tiny sentence. Not a speech, not an argument. Just one clear choice.
And if you don't get it perfect the first time, that's okay. The point is to practice being the person who acts in the moment, not only the person who notices later.
Next time, we might look at another everyday situation where one small sentence changes the whole tone, because these little choices add up fast.
Before you go, we want to hear from you. Tell us in the comments, when would it be hardest for you to speak up about a small eco choice?
We read every single comment. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.